all you beautiful people, and welcome back to yet another episode of Happy Campers. And it is our Halloween episode. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. And this is one of my favorite times of the year. I know a lot of people like Christmas, but I am actually a Halloween man. I love Halloween. Remember, if you guys do enjoy this episode and you guys do enjoy Happy Campers at all, the best way to help me out is sharing it with someone you know and then giving it a 5-star review on whatever platform you're on. And if you are watching this on YouTube, then giving it a like and subscribing for future content. So yeah, in this episode, I am joined once again by Abe's. I believe he was episode 5 guest. And this episode, we are going to be talking about loneliness, especially loneliness tying in with relationships. I've had these topics brewed up. I had a huge list of them, and then I give my guests kind of a topic or kind of a list of choices they can pick, and Abe's picked loneliness, and he wanted to tie it in with relationships. He says he got a few questions for him. So before we begin with that, we're just going to start off with one of the 3 quotes I have, and this one is not necessarily has to do with loneliness, but I really, really liked it because I just liked how simplified it made everything sound. So, some days 24 hours is too much to stay put in. So I take the day, hour by hour, moment by moment. I break the task, the challenge, the fear into small, bite-sized pieces. I can handle a piece of fear, depression, anger, pain, sadness, loneliness, illness. I actually put my hands on my face, one next to each eye, like blinders on a horse. I like that. Just calming it down, man. Just taking each day, and they broke it down to moment by moment, yes, but second by second, if that's all you have to do, no matter what it is, man, just breathe and take the day moment by moment, day by day.
Same way you would take it if you were doing something positive. Same way you would deal with your workload and stuff like that. So
Absolutely.
Why not use that for the negative aspects of your life too?
And especially when on the positive road, that makes you appreciate it more. If you're able to just calm it down, take it moment by moment, you can appreciate every single moment you're having. Because remember, we always talk about the highs come and then those lows are going to come. But if you're in those highs, you can just sit there and appreciate it as much as you would like to. So, what you been up to, man? How you been? How you like being home?
Pretty good.
Being back here.
One that ties in huge to this loneliness podcast, me being in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
My life is just so much easier now.
Yeah.
Having people around me and just so much better than, I wouldn't say I didn't have friends in Fargo. I just didn't feel like I had anyone that in Fargo that I could truly open up to.
Okay.
And I feel like most of the people that I knew in Fargo, I was pretty fake to.
Yeah. Yep.
Which stinks, but.
Okay, I really get that, and it's funny because I actually really get that because I just went back to San Diego about a month ago, and it was nice to see my friends, man. And I saw, there's three really good friends I had there, and they were the guys that I had like that, but I kind of shut them out, so I was kind of fake to them in a way. Not fake that I was going to F them over, but fake in the fact that I never let them in or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But no, I felt the same way the moment I came home, rekindling friendships and having a lot more people around you, having my parents close to me,
sure.
Stuff like that. I wasn't close to my parents in high school, but I'm super close to them now. I literally just, before I volunteered, I was at St. Michael. I go to St. Michael just about every single weekend now. Mm-hmm. I spend Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays there, and then I leave on Tuesday mornings. But yeah, I agree with that. Having people around you, having that support system, man, makes it a lot easier.
No, it's awesome. The older you get, the better friends you get with your parents.
Right.
Sure.
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about that today because I figured we were going to talk about that on the topic at all. It's just dude, well, everyone has their own different relationships, but there is just a huge change, I believe, for majority of kids, and especially for me, when you graduate, your parents just see you differently, and you really just start to grow. And I was telling, I think we were with my roommate here, Kale, and one time I was with his parents, and he was just and they were just, she's like, oh, you probably want to leave, this or that. I'm like, no, Michelle, we're chill, you're cool. The moment you grow up and you mature, you kind of realize your parents are kind of cool, man. You F with them, they're good people.
You have way more in common with them now.
That's the rule. Yeah. They're a lot more chill, but they mean a lot to me. My parents, they're right now they're my rocks. They're my roots. They make me feel good.
That's awesome.
Motivate me. Yeah, man. So that's what else have you been up to? How's school going?
Pretty good. It's a lot easier to get schoolwork done when you have something to look forward to.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know if you experienced this at San Diego at all, but for me at NDSU, it was what's the point in getting my schoolwork done? Because I know I'm not doing anything tonight anyway. I'll just chill until 10 and do my homework at 10. Whereas now it's I want to have my homework done by 5 so I can chill with the roommates. Yeah. Make some music, do something. I don't know.
Okay, I feel that.
Go home.
I feel that. I don't relate in that sense, but I relate in the fact that this is the first maybe summer. This summer was my first semester of actually being a real student. Yeah. Otherwise, I was a joke. I was a jerk off. That was one of the biggest reasons I left San Diego, is that the fact that, like, my mom sent me the financial statement at the end of the year. It's like, hey, just so you know, like, this is what we paid, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. I just want you to know it. And I saw it. I'm like, you're paying that for me to be down here jerking off? I'm like, dude, I'm just messing around. So I felt really, really bad. Took the mature route to come home. But then, still kind of effed off my sophomore year. I was kind of lost a little bit, just, living on the west side of town here and just kind of feeling lost and lonely. Still wasn't connecting enough, and definitely was not connecting with my parents. Still was better with them. I'd see them every now and again, but I wasn't desiring to go see them. When we saw them, we spent good time, but now I desired, like, I can't wait till I finish work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Saturday night I head straight to St. Michael, and I actually enjoy the whole weekend there.
Fill them in.
Yeah, fill them in on what's going on, catch them up. Like, they're the ones who know everything about me and, all the different stuff. And there's no lies. I tell them, like, you know what? No matter what you're going to say about me when you are, when you're in your older age, you will just say, ever since he came or switched, he tells the truth. Like, the kid's truthful. He just tells us the truth. He's going to mess up. I'm the kid. I'm going to mess up, be stupid, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what's going on. Yeah. But yeah, so no, I've been a real freaking student and taking shit seriously, and I actually find it fun. I was telling my mom the other day, I was doing an anatomy test, and it was like an hour-long test that I knocked out in like 18 minutes, and I had fun the whole 18. I'm like, yep, because I actually knew what I was doing.
So good to know what you're doing.
And dude, here's the thing: I didn't study at all. I just didn't cheat on the quizzes. Yeah. I didn't cheat on the assignments. I actually did the assignments, and I told my mom, like, I didn't study at all. I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, should I? And I had work the night before. I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm like, I just watched, because it has, it's anatomy and kinesiology, so they have some of those crash courses. So I just rewatched Crash Course the night and the morning before, and then I went there and aced the freaking test. And I'm like, dude, it's amazing how much you retain if you actually just do the goddamn work.
That's what I was just telling my roommate the other day. Semi-recently, I've been better about it, but, like, I said to him probably at the end of last year, I could have said the only really valuable skill I learned in college was how to cheat good. Like, the best way to cheat.
How to cheat. Yeah. My mom she was telling me that she used to teach at St. Cloud State, and she was telling me she busted somebody, about 10 years ago and all these different things. I'm like, you busted that one kid. I'm like, Mom, I don't know one kid that don't cheat. You got Course Hero, Chegg, Quizlet. Like, come on, man. These kids are cheating hard, bro. Yeah.
Although Chegg is definitely a good resource to have.
Oh, and I think Quizlet too, man. Without cheating.
Yeah.
I think, dude, I like Quizlet. Just having those flashcards available, I think they help me out a lot. Course Hero, that's like a direct cheat. Yeah. That's like the direct cheat.
Look up your assignment.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay $140 a year, but you get every assignment you want. Yeah, whatever. That's all right. So, you were talking a little bit about it, that's why you picked this conversation, loneliness, something I know a lot about. What inspired you to pick that one? I gave you about 10 options. Did you pick this one? What
I feel like this one goes hand in hand for like what I'm passionate about, my music, and I feel like that's like a really big conversation for is it better to make music when you're sad and lonely? Like, do you make better music when you're sad and lonely, or do you make better music when you're around friends and stuff like that? And I just feel like I experienced like 2 solid years of loneliness to the point where, like, when I was done at NDSU, I was actually scared and told my parents that I was scared that I'd lost social skills. Like, I thought I was going to come back and, like, I'd, like, lost the ability to, like, make friends.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, that's what my parents used to say about me when I was a kid all the time, was like, everywhere we go, you make a friend. We go to, like, a daycare or the pool or something, and you make a friend right away. And, like, I just got in my head at the end of 2 years at NDSU that I had lost all that, which was just super scary to think about.
I bet. Damn. No, I get that. 100%. I kind of felt like that too in San Diego. I kind of felt like I've changed a little bit. Just for me, I feel like, I'm not going to blame it on it once again, but I feel like I smoked weed for so long and I smoked it for whatever. And, like, I lost that ability to just be that pippy, just chip it through and not caring what anybody thinks, because, like, when I was high and everything, I was around social activities. I was just in my head the whole time. I'm sitting there and I was like, looking around, feeling judged, even though no one even cares of, any different stuff. I kind of feel like I lost a lot of social ability too. I've tried to relearn that a little bit. Now I feel that, man. I feel that a lot. So yeah, I was thinking about that the other day as I was sitting there. I was gonna tweet this. I was gonna be like, NF, man. I'm like, you have made me feel ways that I don't even know I could feel, man. Like, some of that sorrow. And, like, because I remember I was lifting with Dawson Pittman, and he's like, bro, like, these guys have had to experience some real shit, bro, for them to be able to say stuff like that. Like, stuff that I didn't even know I could feel like that. Like, I've never been in a relationship, and he's telling me these things. I'm like, you're right, man. I'm like, she hurt me. I'm like, wait, who is she? But I get that. Yeah. So you tell me, man. You're the music maker, but is it depend on the music you're making?
Yeah, but dude, I just feel like the only way to make real music is if you're actually feeling it. And I think throughout my music career, the time that I was at NDSU was the only time that I wouldn't say feeling something real, but feeling something significant enough to talk about. Like I had a song on my very first album. It was literally called I Hope You Feel This. And it was literally just talking about me just like sitting in my dorm room and just like being lonely. And I just feel like when I came back that summer from NDSU and was making music with Olson, whatever, and I played it for him, and he was like, yo, like, where does that feeling even come from? And I feel like that time that I spent at NDSU was just one of the only times that I've actually like rapped and sang about something people can relate to and actually like feel. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's so subconscious. Like
that's what I was gonna say, subconscious. Yeah, it came from there.
You'll say shit and then you'll listen back to it and be like, yo, you were depressed, my dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, what is up, my man? I think about that sometimes. I think about, like, I look at old posts on whatever. You know, you're keeping up with your old music, but I'm like, look at my old posts, old tweets, and old Facebook editions, and I'm like, man, you were down in the dumps, bro. I'm like, I don't even remember you doing that, but you were talking about me, myself. I'm like, man, you were just all right, buddy. Yeah, you were pretty lonely and down, weren't you, man? Yeah, I get. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. It's really hard. And we all as listeners, we have these, and as friends and being the person who's listening to somebody talk or sing or whatever it is, we have these very minute, and we don't even understand them, subconscious bullshit detectors. And we can tell whether or not someone's being real. Yeah. And it's when their subconscious awakes and says these lines like NF, that's why everyone can relate, or Billie Eilish, right? Everyone can relate because like, all right, this is some real shit. And how many people, you don't even know all the people that have tried to do what they do. They just try to fake it, right? They're just making up all these bullshit. Like, oh, gosh, make me sad. It's like, no, bro, that's not coming from your true heart. It's not coming from your soul. We know. We can tell right away if you're coming from soul. Just like you can tell, like, you may not even know what someone's lying about. You're sitting there, it's like, I have an off feeling about this guy. It's your bullshit detector going off. Like, like, no, this guy is a fake.
Yeah, because you just, unless you're really, really feeling it, like, people are going to be able to tell, and that's so hard with music because, I mean, then it's like, what can I make music about then? Like, I can't make music about anything hype because I wasn't hyped at the time. It's like,
I was down in the dumps.
Yeah, and it's up in the air whether or not I regret that period of my life because my workload for music was just crazy at that time. Yeah, like I could make like 10 songs in a day just because I needed to get that shit out. Yeah. So. It was good because I was making a lot of music, but looking back on it, I'm just like, it was like that first album was like 10 songs, and 5 of them were at NDSU, 5 of them were in Becker over the summer, and you can just tell the difference between the two.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, yeah, that's the thing I always think about too. I just like think about all the girls or all the different stuff, and I'm like, you know what? But you can't regret. You cannot regret because you wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now today. I just believe in that. I believe in individual paths and individual journeys, like super, super hard. And I believe one minute type of, variance to your timeline can mess up everything. You know what I'm saying? You watch movies where like they go back in time and they save the president. Next thing you know, the world is just shit. Like I always think like that. Like you change one little detail. Yeah. I think about if I would have been with that girl, even for 1 or 2 more days longer, I feel like everything could be different where it's at now. So I can't regret it. You can sit back there and, be like, damn, let's not do that again. But I don't think we can sit there and be like, oh, I regret that time. Damn, I wasted a lot of time. Like you said, you found something positive out of it. Yeah. You're like, well, I made a shit ton of music, man. I made a bunch of good music. And you can still listen to it and still get inspired off that music. Yeah. And you can feel how you were really feeling. That's kind of cool. That's all you're doing? Were you just, when you were lonely, you're just singing? That's your certain thing?
Making music. And another topic that I wanted to talk about, loneliness. That's like one of the scarier things about loneliness, if you're a business guy or a music guy, is this idea of like manic manifestations. Yeah. So like, you're so lonely and you're so in your head that you just start creating shit that is never gonna happen. Like, have you ever seen like the Fousey documentaries?
No, but I know
he's a
he
YouTuber.
is. I know who
so
he is.
he just like went manic and just manifested all these things that it was like, dude, come on, you're
God
you're
is gonna
not
give me $1 million.
Yeah,
$1 million,
dude. And that's a real thing that happens. It happened to me multiple times where I'd be sitting in my dorm room and I hadn't talked to somebody for 10 days straight, and I'm making music and I'm posting on Instagram like, yo, like this is it right here. Like tomorrow I'm gonna be Billboard Hot 100. Like not to that extent, but just BS. Like, and I'd put so much faith behind people and be like, when I go back to Becker, I'm going to make music with this person. I'm going to get this person to shoot a video for me.
Yeah.
And just create this whole thing in my head, build it all up to the weekend that I went home, and then just get fucking let down.
Because you built these expectations that were, completely unfathomable and unrealistic. I get that, dude. Yeah. That's so funny. I knew about Fuzi and his stuff, and I just saw the one thing, like when you were setting up all that event he was having with Drake, like Drake will be here. Yeah. I promise you, he will be here, and that just makes you go crazy.
And it all started from him being lonely. Like he
lost his girlfriend, right? And then he spent some time by himself.
Well, what would you say about like last year and like the stuff you first started doing? Like you from your timeline, that first stuff you were doing, that was when you weren't okay, right?
What stuff?
Like the first like YouTube videos that you're putting out, and like the last year when you lived where Reed lived, you like started like the whole like positivity wave thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
In the timeline, like that's, you always talk about how that was the part that you were fucked up, right?
Yeah, messed up.
So I mean, how much of that was like, I'm gonna be this influencer and like.
Yeah, man, that's so funny. Okay, I always forget, man. I remember I always smoked so much weed, so like I gotta recollect here. But
I'm not saying it has to be. I'm just saying, like, would you relate like a really fucked up part of your life and like thinking that you could, I don't know.
Yeah, but see, that's where I'm confused. And I'm not confused, but it was actually that's the truth, because I'm trying to say without getting myself in trouble, because I got to keep names and stuff out.
Yeah.
So I don't want, and some of them may listen to this. So yeah, that was actually one of the roughest, but it wasn't when I first got back, because that was when I first got back. But like probably right as Jose moved out, which is about a year ago. I just had Jose over. Shout out to Jose, because if he's listening to this, I just had Jose over last Sunday all the way to St. Michael for the first time in 8 months that I saw him, and it was great. We had a great time, and we were catching up. But he moved out about a year ago, and I told him, and he said he could see it through me. I'm like, that's when I fell apart, bud. I'm like, I started smoking, like all day. I would be in my room 14 hours a day, only get 2 hours out, and then sleep the rest, right? So I was in my room all day, stuff like that. And then trickled. And then I had that true manifestation stuff around December. Yeah. And it lasted December, January, February, and then March. And then April is when it ended. So that was when the Voice of the Youth was happening, stuff like that. Where I was just like, you say influencer, I think Messiah. Yeah. Like a Jesus Christ figure. Like, I am here to change the world. Yeah. That's who I am. Like you, and like cutting everybody off that didn't understand my vibrations. I'm like, you don't understand who I am. I'm like, I'm a God. I am a God, dude. Yeah. I'm like, I will do this, and this. I remember I remember going to Miller Auto Plaza. It's a auto store for people who don't know. And I was in there, I was like looking around, and I took a picture of this Corvette and this Hummer, or not the Hummer, the Corvette and this Rubicon. I sent it to my parents. I'm like, just a few weeks and I'm driving this to you guys. And they're like, I for no shit. I was getting
you had like a manic.
I was getting my
breakdown.
I was getting my oil change, and I think about this very often. I was getting my oil change, and I was walking around there. I took some pictures. I sent my friends like, I am gonna drive this up just a few weeks, and this is yours. This is yours. Cause that's why I understood Fuzi was going on it, because like a lot of these books that I read, man, like they have some crazy philosophies where they get into that, and they were like, and I was super influential at that time. So I was reading these books. I'm like, they're right. I'm like, it's all in the brain. I'm like, I'm gonna manifest anything into my reality. I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
And you would have never had any of those thoughts if you didn't spend so much time alone. I mean, that's what I've realized. Like, the stupid, ridiculous, I'm a Messiah thoughts only came because I had way too much fucking time to sit there and think about it,
and no one to check you and be like, what the fuck is going on here? I remember when it kind of ended. It's because, again, I don't want to bring up any names. So when we ended, it was a guy that was not into that, and he was just sitting there. He's just like looking at me, and he wasn't talking about me, but he was talking about somebody else. And he didn't know that I was thinking and acting the same way. And he's just like, you know, who does XYZ think he is? And what is XYZ doing? Like, XYZ is losing his mind and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, yeah. And I sit there and I'm just like, is he? I'm like, I really believed XYZ. And now that you're explaining this and you're a sober mind and you're like a normal dude who's spending time with people and you're getting your social fix, you're getting your social medicine. I'm like, we're nuts. I'm like, we're freaking nuts, dude. And then this is the only name I can bring up because he talked about it. Reed was saying, he's like, you're nuts. He's like, bro, I don't know what is going on with you, man. Yeah. He's like, you are nuts, bro. I'm like, I am nuts. I'm like, I gotta calm this down, dude. So I relate with that a lot. That's funny.
So crazy because, and you, like when I was doing it, like when I was posting like just bullshit on Instagram, I would just like everybody that would say something to me, even if they were trying to help me, it was just, well, you just either don't understand or you're just not positive enough to go with me. And I'm like, and they're not even saying like stop being positive. They're just saying stop being a idiot.
Yeah, weirdo. You know what? That's so funny you say it again, man, because it was midway through The Voice of the Youth, and that was where I feel like my peak of wackadiddliness was going on. That's where just for me personally. And we were going to a funeral, and I was with my parents, and my dad kind of was driving. He's like, so what is Voice of the Youth? And he just kind of did it nonchalant and all chill and all nice. And he was really just like, are you good, bro? Yeah. Like, are you okay? Because this is pretty nutty. He's like, so one video talks about this and another video talks about this. He's like, what is your guys' agenda? What is going on here? I'm like, and I'm sitting the whole time and I started getting mad. I was like, he wasn't bashing me at all. He was just like basically saying like, are you good, bro? And I'm just like, you're not on my wave. I'm like, and I remember on the way back from the funeral, I'm just like, no matter what I do in life, if you're not there behind me, then just don't say anything at all. You need to be on my wave. You need to be riding with me the whole way, man.
And you set yourself up for people to not. You set yourself up for people to not be able to hate on you because it's like then you're just hating on positivity.
Yes.
So you have no outlet. Like people aren't going to be like fuck you, Marsh, because it's like you're not doing anything.
He's not doing anything wrong. Not doing anything wrong. Being super positive. Yeah. But dude, that makes sense. And then and then going back to it, and then I wasn't feeling lonely, right? Because I felt like I had this purpose in my life, and that led up to another huge fall down. Yeah. I told I showed Dawson Pittman when he first came here. I had a picture. Like, I don't know if you ever saw me I posted my transformation video a few weeks ago, or a few months ago. The picture that I had me looking really good, that was right before the whole stuff started. And then it all trickled down. I stopped working out a little bit, but I was really passionate. I was up every morning, doing different stuff like that. And then when I kind of realized I was nuts, I fell into a deep depression for about 2 months. And I got, in my opinion, everyone's like, oh, you weren't fat. I'm like, I got fat. I got chunky. I was white. I was not liking myself. And I was like, bro, you got to freaking check yourself, bro. And then I don't know, just slowly but surely just kept getting better and figure stuff out. I don't know how it happened, but that makes a lot of sense, man. I was so lost, but I didn't feel lonely, but it's what it was, I guess. You know, I felt lonely before it all happened, and then it gave me a new inspiration and a new light. And then I realized how crazy I was, and I was like, all right, and I went back to being depressed again.
So I'm pretty sure like the reason that you ever even feel lonely is like your body needs social interactions
as humans.
And when you don't get it, then your loneliness is so you don't like starve of social
your social medicine
and just break down.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that loneliness all the way up until you end your life type shit is like you just couldn't take like that your body's survival tactic of loneliness just finally was like, oh yeah, can't do it anymore. You know?
I think I agree with you 100%, and I think a lot of people, especially getting to the older ages, they do it for so long, they don't know what it's like to get their social fix. So they just get a dog, get a cat, get that TV going, and they get that food, and they just continue doing their life. And next thing you know, because I wrote this on here, dude, loneliness kills. They say loneliness is one of the world's largest killers. Now, not necessarily because it's loneliness, but loneliness leads to overeating, which leads to obesity, and obesity is linked to 35 chronic diseases in this world, and heart disease is number one. And then 2, it leads to suicide, depression and suicide. So, just those two there. Loneliness kills. And if you don't get your thing, I always say, get your social medicine, get your social fix. This is what I said. I talked about it with Daisy too. I quoted, I say, stay social to stay sane. Yeah. You don't realize how insane you're going. Yeah. No, oh my God.
Dude, totally relates to it.
You literally do not realize how insane you're going because you're so freaking lonely, bro.
Yep. And So I mean, think about all the people that you've known in your life that have gotten to that point where they've ended their life because of loneliness. You don't see them spending a lot of time alone because you don't need to be alone to be fucking lonely.
No.
You can be around 600 people and fucking, yeah.
That's great. I literally wrote this down. Feeling lonely even when people are around you. I'm like, loneliness is not necessarily being alone.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, personally to me, that is when I am my loneliest.
Yeah.
When right now, then that's why I don't like going out, like, because I don't personally connect to a lot of people. There's not a lot of people I could sit down and have conversations like this with. I mean, there are a good amount of people, but if like you look at percentage of the world, there's not that many people.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting there, like when I get out there and I'm around a bunch of different people and they're all talking about drama and gossiping and bullshit and this and that, fake people doing their fake stuff. It honestly makes me feel super, super, super lonely. I said too, one of the most loneliest times in my life was in San Diego. I was in a fraternity. I was a club president. I was in a dorm, like a dorm of all course, but that was honestly where I felt the most.
And you make
loneliest.
it 10 times worse because then you go from that lonely party or wherever you're at, come home, and then just drill yourself and be like, why the fuck did I not say this? Why the fuck did I?
Yes.
Why didn't I talk to this person? Why did I sit there like a piece the whole time? And then that just adds on to your lonely feeling.
Yes,
like,
that little.
Okay, now I'm lonely and I'm a fucking antisocial piece of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that I agree with that 100%. You don't have to be around. Yeah. Oh, that's too. I always said too. Is that when I go there and I be that, even if I don't relate to him, I honestly get to. I know everyone's pretty good at it, but like I always say, like I can read people very, very easy. I feel like it's just one of my skills to understand stuff, and I can tell. And like people always say, like, oh, like you always care about the small things. I'm like, the small things are subconscious, and if the subconscious speaks the truth, and like I can tell how much you don't care for me. Like honestly, even Jose, if you listen, I love you, man. But he made me feel bad. He was like telling me on Sunday, he was like making these little like notes about people that were around me. I'm like, and he was like telling me, he's like, bro, a lot of these people that are coming around you right now have been coming around you just because you started your podcast, just because you started speaking your truth, you started getting positive and stuff like that. I'm like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like. And I literally was thinking, I'm like, I started hanging out with these guys, different people. I'm like, man, I really thought these people cared for me. I'm sitting there, and then he left, and I was, I had a few drinks with my dad, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, really sitting there, I'm like, he's right. Yeah. I'm like, he's right. I'm like, God damn it, man, these people do not care for me, man. And like, he just made it very, very evident. But it's true, man.
And you just have to be careful with that because you don't want to say like, you only like me for my podcast. It's true. Fuck you. It's like, it's true. Well, then technically they're a fan, so it's like, it's true. Talk to your fans.
Talk to your fans. Yeah. And it's true. And again, Jose is not them, man. Jose can guess their intentions, but he does not know necessarily. Yeah. So I was in denial when he was around, but then it was a late night and I was just starting to think, and I'm like, maybe he's right, but who cares? It doesn't mean I cannot. It doesn't mean I need to be mean. I can still be the good person I am and still communicate with them. It's just don't allow people in too deep where they allow you to don't give them enough power to F you over. That's what I'm just gonna say. Yeah.
And so I was having a conversation with my dad about like the podcasting, the music, and the videos and all that shit because I've been really into it since I was a kid. Like that's what I wanted to do is be a media persona of some sort.
Same way. Same here.
And he would always say, "Well, like Brandon, you're not famous like this, that, and the third, but like you can't always just assume that you're not. Like there are gonna be people in your life that literally look at you and be like, he's good at music, so I'm gonna start talking to him or start following him because you always think like I'm not famous now, so I'm never gonna be famous, so I don't know what comes with that. But like there's a lot lower scales of that, and you're gonna start seeing fake people, and you're gonna start seeing all these people, even if you're not famous, even if you have like 10 fans, 5 of those fans could be those things that famous people always talk about,
And that's where does the definition of famous lie? Because you can be a town celebrity, and then you could be a county celebrity, you could be a state celebrity, and all the different things. I guess I was trying to say like a Vikings player, like Adam Thielen. Like I guess he's known all over the NFL. But before he became a big star these last 3 years, everyone from Minnesota knew him because he was Mankato. He was a Minnesota born. We're like, yo, Adam Thielen. He played in the NFL, but he was not a national famous, but he was statewide famous. So yeah, you break down. You can think about. You think about Veldman. Think about the oldest Veldman. Yeah. No one knew him in the NFL. He didn't know anybody. But around Becker, we're like, oh my God. Even Shane Potter, man, guy didn't go anywhere. But everyone's like, you're Shane Potter. It's like, so yeah, exactly. Yeah. But people will try to use you for your. And I don't know what it is. My dad. I try to talk to my dad about this stuff. He says that it's because humans are wired to be attracted to those people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But they're not wired to be, care for the best care the best for you, but they're wired to be attracted to you. And he's like, oh, you know what, whatever it is, whether it's to their own intentions and their own publicity, but they're wired to be like, oh yeah, that guy's something different. Let me follow him.
And I've had my dad tell me before, semi-recently with a friend, where he literally just said, Brandon, are you sure he doesn't just think that you're going to be a musician? And I'm like, Dad, I'm not famous. Stop saying that, whatever. He's like, I don't know. It just seems like he's just banking on you being a famous musician. Like he thinks if he hangs around you, then he's one of Lil Pump's entourage.
Yeah, bro. For real.
And I'm like, nah. And then I just started thinking about it. And I'm like, Maybe people have that in their head.
I don't know.
Oh, I think Marshall's gonna be the next biggest podcaster. Like people could actually.
I don't know. Yeah. And they're like, let's just ride it on as soon as we can. That's the thing. That's the thing, man. I can't. I find myself, because I re-listen to these podcasts, and I find myself and I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, man. Because so I'm trying to really watch it to make sure I don't say any names or even give them a thought that it could be them. Yeah. But yeah, man. So I have a few of those, and it's funny. It's funny. There's the different ones, then there's people who get affected by it. Like, like Reed. Like me and Reed didn't talk when we moved out forever, and then he saw one of my podcasts and one of my quick talks, and he's like, his message was like, yo, he's like, I'm not happy. What you're doing made me realize things about myself. So I like that you're doing. He wasn't saying, oh yeah, like you're gonna be Joe Rogan, man. Let me be on your team. You know what I'm saying? So. But also too, I don't know, because my dad, Jose said the same thing about somebody too. He's like, you sure, Mers? Like, he kind of seems like he's just hanging out with you ever since you started podcast and doing this or that and being nice to you ever since this and that. I'm like, really? I was gonna say, I feel like I got a good bullshit detector. Yeah. But with this one specific friend that Jose was talking about, I was kind of like, with him, I could be naive. I could easily have overlooked it. Yeah. I could easily have overlooked it, and I would never know until it's too late to bite me in the ass. But again, I don't feel like I give people power that no more. I think I talked about in one of the first episodes. I don't give people the power to make me feel bad or stab me in the back no more. Like, we can be really, really good friends, but like, unless you're my significant other, I don't see myself giving you the power to stab me in the back, bro. Yeah. It ain't gonna hurt me. You could have just used me and try to milk me all you want, bro. But if you just at the end you're just like, deuces, I just liked you for your shit. I'm like, cool, bro. Hey, have a good one, man. Yeah. Best of luck in life, man. I wish you the best.
Hold that exact thought you said, because that's where I wanted to tie in relationships. But quick before we transition to that, it's crazy, just going off like the famous thing, it's crazy how much you and me both work to be famous. But do you ever actually like picture it in your mind and think enough that there are people out there that follow you enough to ride your wave because you're doing that well? Like, I never like put two and two together in my mind, and I'm like, I'm just a local rapper.
I don't think I'm shit. Yeah. I don't think I'm shit, bro. I don't think I'm shit. I just enjoy what I'm doing, and like, you wouldn't do this if you didn't think this, but we both see ourselves as different. Like, I'm a little bit different than the majority of these people. That's why I don't fit in the different way. That's why I make my music. That's why I sit here and do podcasts. I'm like, I don't think I'm a normal human being, but I don't think I'm shit. I don't think I'm, you know what I'm saying? And they always say that too. And even Joe Rogan, he's like, bro, he's like, I was in Colorado. I thought it was done. I thought I was out of California. I was happy. I was in the mountains. And next thing you know, we need to come back for my job. So he's like, me and my buddy Redman, we're just making podcasts down in the studio, streaming on Twitter, having 200 people watch us. He's like, I didn't think I was shit. Next thing you know, 10 years later, it's this. He's like, I didn't think I was shit. He's like, I was a half-assed comedian who was a UFC commentator. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of trickles into that. And no, I don't know. I think really what does to me, I think probably just you, how much work I put in just humbles me. Yeah. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I was shit, I put so much work that, like, that's just what it is. I'm like, isn't that just, it's evolution. Like, it's going to happen. Like, I put so much work that, come on, man. No, I don't know. That's how I kind of think too.
I feel like that's what separates longevity once you get to a certain point. It's the same way as we were just talking about school. You cheat on a bunch of quizzes, you finally get to the test. You're going to bomb it, or you do all the quizzes, you finally get to the test, then you get to get that A and you get to move on, where it's like you could be going at the same pace as somebody else, A on quiz, A on quiz, A on quiz, A on quiz, but then the two guys that like get to the final point, and it's like the other person gets to move on and go further.
Or you can sit there and make fake posts even though you're sitting in your room 14 hours a day, you get out for the other 2 hours, you make fake posts, acting like you're doing good, acting like you're this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And then you finally get to the test, which is where to show who you truly are. You say, I'm a messiah. I'm a manifester, baby. I got these big things. And guess what? Life never gets you, because guess what? Life is the answer key, man. He knows if you were cheating on the test, and you were cheating the whole way through. You didn't retain anything, man. That's a great analogy right there, man. That's really, really good. Yeah. You then life will show you what test is gonna happen, and you will fail because you cheated your way through. You faked your way through. That's really good.
And I think I have like multiple aspects in my life recently that I've realized, like, you fucking cheated your way to get to this. Now look at where you are. And I'm the type of person where if I get in that big enough of a hole, I will grind it the fuck out and pull myself out of that hole. Yeah. But if I wasn't like that, definitely still wouldn't be in school.
And how many people are like that? Yeah. How many people are like that? They're like, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. Okay. You want to talk about the relationship things.
Yeah, you just said, so this whole Happy Campers podcast.
Yep.
I would say one of your main top 3 things you've talked about is people coming into your life and you not giving them the power to bring you down.
Yeah.
Because the attitude, the all-around goal and the utopian attitude would be, I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks, and it doesn't affect me at all. We also have talked about, you've talked about like getting in a relationship with girls.
Yeah.
So I'm in a relationship right now, and I listen to your podcast all the time, and that always gives me inspiration to like everybody else in my life to think, I don't give a fuck what you think, but it's so different when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, I'd bet.
Can you tell your girlfriend, she says something negative to you, can you say, nah, screw that. I'm not going to let that affect me. I feel like you would have a terrible relationship if you didn't let every single fucking thing that someone says to you affect you. And then where do you draw the line? And you always talk about how you want to be in a relationship, you want to meet a girl, you want to get, I mean, just what's your plans with that when you get in a relationship? And you love her so much that you have to let every fucking thing she says to you affect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so good, because this is where I have a lot of off-air conversations with Reed before, in between the episodes, and I have a lot of conversations with my father. And, you know, they go, Marsh, okay, you have an outside point of view. You think it's this easy, but like it's two people living separate lives together, though. That's what a relationship is. So it's like, Marsh, I was like saying all these different things. I'm like, I can't believe he lets her do this, and then he lets her make him think he can do this and that. I'm like, are you serious? Like, Jesus, goddamn Christ. But again, you know what? That's a really good question, because you know why? I think that's why I haven't had one yet. Is because I can read girls, and that's a different thing. And I'm like, yo, no, you're if you think you're gonna control me, or you think you're gonna tell me this, and you know, blah blah blah, that ain't gonna happen. Now, if there's things that I'm doing that's affecting us, now I'm drinking too much, I'm smoking too much, I'm out doing unconstructive things too much, we eventually get and have kids, and I'm not around for the kids. Now, that is all your place to talk to me about. That's all blah blah blah. But I always thought about this too. I was wondering, if I ever get a girl, meet a girl, and then she clicks on my Instagram and then finds Happy Campers, she's like, I'm gonna listen to this shit before I actually see him. I'm gonna feel like I get to know him. Babe, you will have no say on what I talk about here. This is my show. This is our lives are separate. When I come here or I make my stuff on the YouTube, your life does not entwined in here. And you know what? If I'm in here and I'm talking about you, I'll probably say X, Y, Z. I won't say you. But guess what? Like, it's not your place to tell me this or that. But and two, I was thinking about that same time too, man. And that's why I haven't got into it. I was in San Diego, and even Reed says it. Reed's like, first off, he's like, the person you are, your girl will find you, and shit will just happen. And Preston told me too. He's like, as I was talking about too with one, he's like, Marsh, he's like, who you are and what you want to do, I would say no. He's like, I'm like, what? I'm like, come on, man. He's like, I would say no, bro. He's like, because you can't stop. Because now, so this is going to be a good question here. He's like, you cannot stop what you're doing for someone else, but in a relationship, you kind of have to do that. So
that's what I'm saying is like, where do you draw that line? And you can't say anything with your exploration in women, because then does that mean that you're actually finding true love before you start dating? Or are you being too uptight to not get a girl? I mean, like, where do you put that line where it's like, yo, Marsh hasn't dated somebody, and in no way, shape, or form am I ever throwing any shade on not being in a relationship.
Bro, you're
but
good.
So Marshall hasn't been in a relationship for the last year. Is that because he's finding the right person, or is that because he's pushed off people that could have potentially been that?
That's the thing. And I feel like I've opened up ever since school started. So again, it's only the last 2 months, but for up since then, I've never been in a relationship ever. So I feel like I've always just been so picky. I'm like, bro, I got my own route. This is what I'm going to do, and nobody is going to stop me. Left, right, I don't care who you are, man. I've never let anyone get in my way or hold me down like that. But again, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're living her life too, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're living together. You're two different lives. But you know, she can't tell you what you can say in your podcast. She can't tell you what you can write in your songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to say. There's a lot to say.
A lot to say, and a lot of stuff that, because I mean, the relationship that I'm in now, if me and her couldn't say, yo, cut that shit out, then it would be a whole different story. And it's like some of the stuff I want to say, like, I can't let you affect me, but it's like, we're in a relationship, so I have to, and like, your criticism like has to mean something. You know.
I thought about that because I was delivering, and there was someone came on the radio, did the call in. He's like, yeah, I'm just trying to fight with my girlfriend, and I was, oh, what's wrong? I was like, oh, she doesn't let me hang out with the boys and stuff like that. And that's one I always used to hate on guys. I'm just like sitting there. I feel like you have to define how much you're going to let them affect you, and how much you're going to let them dictate your life. As I thought about that, sitting back there, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, honest to God, if I don't hang out with anybody now, like I'm an introvert. I'm alone majority of the time. If I spend on the weekends, I go with my dad. So if I got a girlfriend and we were hanging out every single weekend, and there was one weekend where I just wanted to maybe go out, and it wasn't nothing super special, but someone's like, hey man, you should come over, and my girl's like, no, you're not going. I would define on where I would be. I'd be like, okay, no big deal. That does not affect me and change who I am as a person, and it's not that big of a thing. But now all of a sudden, I woke up one morning, we had a great night, and she's like, no, you can't go to the gym. Excuse me?
Yep.
No,
Well,
you don't say that. You don't, you know what I'm saying?
A majority of the people in high school or in college that you were talking to about the going out with the boys bullshit.
Yeah.
They knew in their mind when they were telling you about it that they were being a fucking asshole going out with the boys.
Yes.
Like I would say to people all my life, any relationship I've ever been in, well, I don't get to go out with my friends and shit. And as I'm saying that to somebody, I'm literally just lying to myself. And I'm like, but you're with them every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And you decided to go snowboarding instead of hanging with your girlfriend. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess just the main question is just, where do you draw the line with the attitude that you're trying to push, you know? Because that's like I feel like that's like your thing now, is like you are setting this like wave of like, I don't let what people say affect me. But then relationship comes in, it's a whole different story. So,
and you know what? Maybe that's where it is, man. Maybe the relationship is where the line is. You don't let anybody else affect you, even your mom, dad, brother, and sister. You just don't. They're so encouraging. They know how strong-minded I've been recently, and I am just so. And it's actually ever since I've kind of transitioned this last month and a half, we won't get into the details, I've really become strong in it, and I've really started to love myself, and I'm straight up, like I am straight up now. I'm like, I used to be kind of a pussy, bro. That's a huge reason I had this big transition this last month and a half, because I wasn't able to stand up for myself. Now I'm just like, nah, man, I don't give an F, bro, because I was like, dude, you know why? As I was afraid to stand up to X, because X was friends with Y and Z, and I thought if X was mad at me, he would tell Y and Z, and therefore Y and Z would be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. My mom's like, first off, Y and Z ain't gonna give a shit about X. X is a piece, and X is a liar, or X has his own little thing. Who cares? And mom says, even if Y and Z do, who gives a shit? You got A, B, and C, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, bro, I'm good. But maybe the relationship is aligned. And again, I think it's only if it doesn't change, if it starts to change you. Not going out with the boys doesn't change you, bro. But if she's sitting there, it's like, no, you can't go to the studio, man. I don't want to be lonely. Or she's fishing for compliments, or all these different a bunch of bullshit. I think it's very subjective, and I think you can understand it yourself. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. And then have that conversation with them. Be like, yo, I let you do this last Saturday, but this upcoming Saturday here, I'm going to go out with the boys. And then if she has something to put up with it, you'd be like, why? Let's have a conversation about this. Why do you think you can control me like this? Or why are you trying to control me like this? Are you okay? Do you not have enough friends yourself? Are you feeling insecure? What are you lonely? What is going on to why you keep trying to change me like that? I don't know. That's where it'd be.
And you definitely can like analyze it down to that point. But like, I just feel like with girls, it's just like different, and you just have to kind of just say like, I mean, you just have to let a lot of more shit go than you would like with your guy friends.
And see, I think I think that is 100% true, and I think you need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
I see my dad, and like the more I've grown up, the more and more respect I have for not just my dad, but dads in general. Because dads are kind of like pushovers, like they're the bottom feeders of the family. They get the scraps, and then the dads are left to do all the the shitty things. I'm sitting there, I'm like. Mike, you're a good dude. And all these sometimes women will make snarky comments and then the guys just let it go over. Like, who cares? Hey, I'm not sexist. I'm not saying the men don't do the same thing.
Yeah,
it's just like I think in a relationship, whatever way it is, just let those things go and you guys live a life together. I know.
Yeah.
And every activity that you do as a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you are not the only person involved. Even if it's you leaving the house, you're not the only one affected by your movements or your activities. So you gotta kind of be cautious of that. So don't enter a relationship if you're not ready to do that. Define how much you're gonna let someone dictate your life. And a relationship is a lot, man. That's what. And then again, I guess it evolves too, because it's nothing in the beginning. You're all doing your own thing. You're just dating, kind of, and then you take it seriously. Wow, I'm really serious with this girl. I allow her to really, tell me how, really dictate a lot of parts of my life,
I guess the answer is just stick to your guns. So now, you have to have a pretty good idea the next time you meet a girl, the next time you start dating a girl, what you're going to let fly. So I guess just stick to that, and then that's where
the one thing you can't let, no matter what happens, and this happens to a lot, because me and Reed talked about like codependency and cohabitation. That's the dangerous factor. You cannot let them dictate your happiness.
Yeah.
No matter what, if they say something good to you, you can't let that make your day. Just as you say, I always say, you have to let the goods go and you have to let the bads go. And that's why I don't care about anybody's comments. If I do a comment and someone goes, "Oh yeah, man, great shit," I appreciate you, dude, but I will not let that get to me, because if I let that get to me, then the guy who goes, "Dude, you're tiny, you're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah," I would have to let that get to me just by the power, by the law of life. So I go, nah, man. So don't let them dictate your happiness. That's the only thing I can say. Otherwise it's kind of up to the air, man. You define that individually. It's subjective.
So
relationship.
We have time to keep going, right?
Yeah, plenty of time.
Okay. So, another thing that you talked about on your podcast is the don't let other people dictate your happiness, but also don't rely on people, or what do you always say? Don't rely on people just for them to let you down. Don't put your faith behind somebody. There's a way you put it into words. Don't you don't expect anything from anyone.
Oh yeah.
So what about that in a relationship? Aren't you expecting things from somebody?
See that? Yeah, that's where I thought about that too. I thought about a girl, dude. I am so, and I know you can lose this too, because everyone changes. We start to form into just one. It's two people who start the relationship and start to form into one, and you just can't, man. You just have to keep working on yourself and checking yourself and pulling yourself away to be like, no. I don't expect anything from her. Yeah. I don't. I wouldn't, bro. I was the type of guy. I had this little fling freshman year, bro. I would rub her feet, give her massages, all these different things, and every now and again I'd get a back rub. But even though I got it the first time, I never ever expected it. And I would say, this is the line I just say: don't let somebody, don't treat people as bad as they are. Treat them as good as you are, all the time. Even if you give your what. That's why I like the dads do it. They just don't care. They're like, whatever, man. I'm in this. I signed up for this. This is kind of how it goes, man. It's whatever. And I'm not saying, women don't give as much as the guys. It's just if you are the girlfriend and you're the boyfriend and you feel like your relationship, they're not giving enough, it may be time to have a conversation, but it's never time to start creating expectations on where you feel like they should be giving you. I don't think that, man, to anybody. I don't think you should set any expectations for anybody in this universe, your children, your loved ones, and your significant other, except for yourself. You can only set expectations for yourself, because then if you end up disappointing yourself, you're the only one you have to blame, man. Yeah. You shouldn't have done that, man. And setting expectations for yourself, it keeps you pushing.
Yeah, and it's crazy how different relationships work, and how much better a relationship is without that ego, or you being the stronger individual.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I had a conversation with Josh Ludens, our senior year of high school. So it stuck with me all throughout college. He said, I've never been in a relationship where I feel like I love the person more than they love I love the person more than they love me.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to be in a relationship where you can just like I don't even know how to describe it, dude. It's just so much crazier being in a 50-50 relationship. And in my relationship that I'm in now is like so much like just us together instead of like
the one or the other. Yeah, I get that.
It's crazy.
And I think you see, and I don't know, but you do see that a lot in young relationships. And that means it just all started for wrong reasons. But I agree with that. Yeah, and I think that can go even to relationship with your friends, man. If you're both committed to that equally, it's a much better relationship than the one who's just like always texting, always trying to hang out, always trying to do the thing. You're just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I get that. Yeah, that makes it stronger. You both got to be committed equally.
I feel like that all wraps around to what we were talking about with loneliness, where it's like if you're lonelier than your partner, I feel like that just causes so much issues.
And not even just loneliness. Any of the podcasts we were talking about recently, insecurities. If you're more insecure, I was talking to Dawson Pittman as I was lifting with him, and he's talking about, he's like, if you're trying to get up in the morning and your girl is just fishing for compliments, I'm ugly, I'm fat, blah, blah. He's like, no, you're not. Come on, get dressed and go to work. Let's go.
But
Jesus
you're the dick.
Christ.
But you're the dick.
Yeah, but you're the dick for that saying yes or no. And then that leads to everything. If you're the one who is the more lonely or the one who has more insecurities, you're going to be the one loving more because you're going to have these attachment issues. And I see it very, very evidently in a few of people, but one super close. And this is one thing I want to talk about with, like, because I haven't experienced this personally, but like loneliness can lead to depression, anger, feeling afraid or misunderstood. And people become very highly critical of themselves, discouraged, and lose desire and motivation, and then wallow in self-pity. Therefore, when they're in those stages, they become very, very attached to folks and become deeply involved in other people's lives, activities, without concern at all for their well-being. And that's the whole thing, man. Like boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're becoming very, very overcommitted. And this is what I like to say. They justify it with, I just really love them. Oh, I really care for them. I'm like, but
50% of that is you just trying to fucking get by.
Let's say, but do they really love you? Do they really care for you? Because it doesn't seem like it. And they did. But now you're just becoming. Humans don't get attracted to people who are just super clinging and super attaching. If you're you're there and you're never giving them everything because you're just trying to seek attention and seek love and seek. But that overcommitment issue, or the people who are super freaking lonely, people who are super down on themselves and super insecure about themselves. So you see it very, very evidently in high school because a lot of people are insecure. You see it super evidently. You see the one-way relationship. It's like, all right, that guy loves that girl loves that guy. They are not 50-50. You always knew. You always knew who was the boss in the relationships. You would go to the parties, and when the one who wanted it would just stare at him like, hey, like, when are we going home? The other person would be all around talking to everybody else, like, Jesus Christ, And they become deeply involved with others' lives and activities without any concern for their own well-being. You know what I'm saying? I see that.
It happens.
I see that evidently. There's somebody, oh my God, there's a friend of mine right now so much, and I can't get to them as much as I can, but I just want them to know, man, like, golly, you gotta be you. You gotta be you, man. You don't become this cohabited person who just codependent, who just needs that other person and loses themselves completely.
Well, and the proof is in what we just talked about. I mean, think about all the times that you've met girls and you've connected with girls. You did not meet them and connect with them when you were lonely
and insecure.
It was the exact opposite.
Yes.
And you'd think, well, I'm lonely, I need to get somebody in my life. No.
Nope.
Figure yourself out first.
Dude, and I'm glad I am so glad. First off, there was, and I think a lot of it had to do with marijuana, but there was no way. Ever since I came back, the moment I went back from San Diego, I went to STMA for 2 hours, grabbed some stuff, and then I headed to my apartment with Jose. I have never lived alone. Now I live alone and freaking love it. It's because I was afraid of being lonely. One, it's because going back to that social aspect, I was smoking so much, and when I'm high, no, I am in my bed by myself. So I was high all day. I wouldn't want to leave. So I'm like, if I can't leave my apartment, might as well have my friends in my apartment. Radical. And now that I'm out all the time, I'm always working, always at school. I'm out and then getting that social medicine every day. Anyway, but I'm losing my train of thought on what were we talking about specifically?
when you shouldn't look for a relationship when
Oh,
you're lonely.
yes, dude. And I didn't realize until recently, until I think honestly, it's been going to my parents every weekend and being with them. And then he's I'll come here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then majority of Saturday because they don't even see me when I come home late at night. It's for 5 days a week. I'm all by myself, and I'm trying to tell people, I'm like you guys don't realize I'm sitting there because I'm like I went to San Diego and like they were like hanging around us and like one of my buddies just always around people. I'm like you do realize like besides just saying hi to people in the hallway or quickly talking to people at work because I work alone. I'm a delivery driver. I'm in and out. I'm like I don't talk to people at all. I don't Snapchat people all day. I'm like I am alone, and I think that leads to a lot of reflection and solitude or anything. But what I'm trying to get to the point is that I'm glad I didn't find the relationship back when I was like. Back in those 2 months or 3 months ago, I was like, I want a relationship because I was lonely, but I didn't realize I was, and I was like trying to seek for somebody. But like now I'm just like sitting there, I'm like, bro, like, and like they say like when you want something, when you really really want something, like you don't get it, and the moment you're just like, screw it, I don't want it, all of a sudden just pops up in your life. I'm getting to that point. I'm just like, bro, I'm really focusing on business. I'm focused on the podcast, focused on school. I'm doing my shit. I don't worry about that right now. And then, that's what Jose says. He's like, the moment I stopped looking for love, all of a sudden Tori popped up, blah, blah. It's like, dude, it's just, hey, maybe it's what happens. But yeah, you cannot, because then you're trying to find yourself in somebody else. It'll never happen, bro. No. You need to find yourself before you find them. Because you really had that spark when you both were just like on top of your shit.
Yeah, you're just causing an issue right from the start. Searching.
By being a leech. One of you is a leech onto the other. And you start like that, then how your relationship's not going to evolve. How does your relationship evolve with a leech? That leech just dries that other one blood. Draws their blood out and dries them out. So no, you got to start a relationship on a good note. Let's get into, because we're getting to the end here, let's just kind of give some tips and stuff like that. Let's do another quote. Loneliness is my least favorite thing about life. The thing that I'm most worried about is just being alone without anyone to care for or someone who will care for me. And then I'm going to do one more quote on that because I want to tie these together. Loneliness is like when you wish someone else is there, and solitude is when you enjoy being alone. I don't always want to be alone, but I definitely like pockets of solitude to recharge and come back to myself. I think that is so important for everybody. And going back to that, so that's where I'm like, and I always said that about self-reflection and stuff, is that you have to be alone to really self-reflect. And alone is not listening to music. Alone is not watching TV. Alone is not just being around with nobody around. It's being no pets, nothing. It's just being in silence and then listening to whatever that annoying sound in your brain always says when you're like, oh, really? You didn't? Why didn't you talk to this person? Or why didn't you do that? Like you were saying when you come back from the room. Listen to that voice will tell you everything. But solitude, bro. Like we said, and then, being lonely is not necessarily being alone, because you can be around people, and then vice versa. Being alone does not necessarily mean lonely. Solitude, that's for sure. I'm an introvert, so for me, bro, being alone is what I need. My sister, she went up and did a camp for some kids this summer, and she was there for 5 days, and she came back with my mom. She's like, I'm going to be in the basement all weekend. She's like, this introvert needs to recharge. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's solitude. I enjoy that sometimes. You just need that. But one of the earlier lines it says was loneliness is like when you wish someone else was there. And then I was one of the things I want to talk about was it's how loneliness is not a bad thing. Oh yeah. It's not a bad thing, and it can be changed. It's just that important needs are going unmet. Yeah. So you want somebody there, and they're just going unmet. So you like to rap. I, if I feel lonely, I like to, I like to reflect. I like to sit in a little bit, but otherwise, I like to get up, get out, get active, do a bunch of different stuff. I don't necessarily write, but I'll podcast or just talk to somebody. That's why I like to do it, honestly. But I like to communicate with people. That's how I'd like to communicate. I like to force it, honestly. Get out in the world to change that, because I think it's what it is. We all get lonely. Loneliness comes and goes. It happens, blah blah blah. But you have to fix it. You know what I'm saying? You have to get out and do something about it instead of just sit there and wallow in it too long. You have to sit there and kind of reflect on it. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
and I feel like this perfectly sums it up. Also tying in relationships with it, what you said, that alone time is so important. So me and my girlfriend now, when we first started dating, like the first 3-4 months we were dating, I was still in Fargo. So that whole time I was in Fargo and she was in Becker, we would just complain and just be so sad that we couldn't be together. And now we look back on that time in Fargo and we're like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Because we would spend so much time alone thinking about ourselves, like recharging ourselves, and then we come back together and it was just this like amazing like meetup after a week of not seeing each other. And it's like at the time we were so pissed off that we weren't together, and then we look back on it and we're like,
that was the best thing for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's what made it was that you were creating very, very positive and deep roots within your relationship. You're like, all right, we just created some massive, strong roots. Now we can grow upon it. Versus if you don't build that strong foundation,
and you can do that with anything in your life. Just like take that time to be alone, and you just appreciate the time that you're not alone, I guess.
Dude, take your time alone and time to reflect, as then one, you get to really see if you really, really enjoy this and really want this, and then two, when you get the time with whatever it is, you will really enjoy that time you have. This time is precious, man, and if you get to, and I think too is that if you're with them all the time, I always think about the people who start relationships and they're just like together 24/7 again. I'm like, have you even went home and been like, do I really like being with this person? You are just becoming habitual with it. You're like, oh, this is what we do. We always hang out. But like, you haven't been alone forever. Do you actually know if you really want this? Be in that solitude and reflect in that solitude and enjoy that solitude. And going back to it, if you're feeling lonely, communicate it. Let people know you're feeling it. Gather with loved ones and, let them know how you're feeling if you're feeling lonely. And then, like we said, you rap, podcast, find a passion.
Yep.
Find a passion, man. I would rather have you find a passion first, or let's just say, not you wouldn't buy a passion, but I would rather have you buy a passion before you would buy a pet. I feel like that is just a masking. Pets are great, man. We love them. But I feel like that's just a masking tool for you to just continue in yourself while you're like, oh, I'm not as lonely no more. I got this little bugger around. It's like, I'd rather have you find a passion, something you're passionate about, man, that can drag you out of it. And a lot of times passion's turned into social stuff. I can't do these podcasts. Well, I could, but I can do monologues, but I would rather do a dialogue and have two people. So I can't do these podcasts. This is a great social outing for me every week. I get to sit here for a few hours and talk to people. You make music with people. You have producers, this or that. You're communicating. You're always communicating with people. And then, so this is the one I'll kind of, and loneliness truthfully shows the importance of relationships. And in my opinion, life, besides survival, that's the whole point of life, but all these greater things in life we have, they're all social aspects, and it just literally shows you that life is just about the relationships we have with one another. We find meaning in the connections we have, and humans are the human connection is innate within us. We just need it. It's just so important to us, so don't deny yourself with it. If you're not getting it, man, don't think it's good for you. It's good for you just to have that solitude every now and again. But if you've been having months and weeks alone, man, yo, bro, it's not good for you. Get up, force that interaction. Go to a bar, sit down at a bar, talk to some random stranger.
Manic shit that we just came up with.
For real, bro.
Way too much time
insane.
To think. Yeah.
You will go insane. Stay social to stay sane, my friends. That's just how it is. That's just what it is, man. We need to stay. We're social creatures. And remember. Here's some misconceptions. Remember this, people, too. Loneliness is not a sign of weakness. You're not weak. We all get lonely. If people don't act like they're lonely, I call people on this podcast all the time, and just random people, right? I'm just like, if you're sitting there and you're in your headphones right now, or you're in your car, and you're just like, I don't get lonely. You're not tough, buddy. Yeah. You're not cool. Yeah. Okay? You get lonely all the time. That's why
I'm at a party every weekend.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you're at a party every weekend, because you're lonely. Yeah. Or that's why you got a dog, or not hating everyone, not saying everyone does it, but that's why you did those things that you didn't know you did, but you did them because you're lonely, buddy. Yeah. Take a look in your life. And then people I was reading in about loneliness on the web, and they said some people say, oh, there's something wrong with me if I'm lonely. And especially in college, like, this is the time. It should be the best years of my life.
Yeah, dude, I said that so many times.
This is the greatest time. I was so lonely in high school, but lonely, dude, there's so much change going on, and you're losing so many people you thought were really close to you, but they really weren't. They just were high school buddies, people who lived in your town. It's like, no, man, like, these are going to be the best years of your life in the end, but Brady, like, who cares, man? I don't think that at all, man. I think the best years of your life is the years right now, man. Yeah. And then when you're 60, you should be saying the same thing, because what's the point of that, man? No, man, you should always be evolving, but no. Yeah. Like, there's a lot going on, man. No problem. Nothing wrong with you.
Screw that mindset, and screw everybody in college that made me feel bad for not. Yeah. Like, dude, I was an RA the second half of my freshman year.
Yeah.
When everybody else was doing their bullshit, and I would come home and X, Y, and Z, I would hear from somebody and say, like, oh, Abe's has no friends up there. Abe's been banking on my friends. It's like, screw you for making me feel like a piece of shit for not being a
as I'm lonely.
College.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm just like, you're all lonely too. You're just masking it with alcohol 4 days a week. God, and you're listening to this now, and you're like, oh, he doesn't even know what he's fucking talking about. Shut the hell up, boy. It's just like, all right, buddy, just take a good long look in the mirror.
Good for you if you're never lonely.
Yeah, man. If you really, really are, man, good for you. I cannot sit here and tell you you're not.
Yeah.
Because, but even now, the moments of the enjoyment of solitude I have and the long lasting, it sometimes gets to be a little too much. And I get lonely. We all get lonely, man. It comes and goes. My dad was saying, he came over to the cabin last Friday because we had stuff going on Saturday morning, and he sat there and he's like, well, how long does it last? All these different things. He's like, what is chronic loneliness, and what is? He's like, as I came here, you were at work, and I sat and I saw the beautiful sunrise go down, and I was like, man, I really wish your mom was here. I really wish your mom was enjoying this more. And he's like, well, and I was like, well, I gotta go to the garage and get some work done. He's like, it lasted for a minute or two. He's like, this all comes and goes. So don't act like you're tough. That's why you have people over. That's why you go to your parents. That's why you go out. Like, come on, it's just you're lonely. No big deal. We all get lonely. And then this is the best one too. I'm the only one who feels this way.
Yep.
I didn't know you were going through that. I bet no one probably knew I was going through this. I tell it's like, and I know so many other people that we know,
time
bro.
That I was doing that. I was trying to prove you. I was trying to prove you.
Yes, that I'm not.
I wasn't.
Yes, that I'm not. That I'm not. And he would be okay with me saying this. Jose too. He was saying he's like, bro, I really want to get on your podcast, but I just wasn't doing really well this last few months. Like, I'm just not feeling. He's just doing great now. But he's just like, I was getting lonely. I was feeling this now. He's like, no one's afraid. Like, it's who we are, man. We all get lonely. It's innate in us. If you're lonely, it means that needs are going unmet. That's all it is. If you're lonely, some of your needs are going unmet, and more than likely, they're social. Stay social to stay sane, and get your social fix and get your social medicine, because it'll help you out.
Facts.
Otherwise, you'll start to manifest a messiah, and you'll become some crazy mother effer, man. That's what it is. Damn, bro, that was a really good podcast. It's well over an hour right now. That's actually really good. That was great. Thank you, Abe, for coming in here and picking this podcast. This is awesome. That was great. Thank you for coming with questions. Thank you for coming prepared and giving me something to talk about and not making me feel like I gotta run the whole show.
Yeah. Hopefully that inspires some people, because I know, dude, when I'm listening to your podcast, it's just startup level enough to like want to come on and be like, yo, you got to talk about this before. Yeah. So hopefully people. Like, I know Pittman did it. I know Pittman wanted to reflect. I know Reed does every single time he comes on here. You could tell he's getting better. So, yeah.
So you're saying hopefully it steps people's game up.
Yeah. No,
hopefully you set a new bar. I think you did set a new bar. Yeah. That's definitely right. Again, this was the last time Pittman came. I started printing these off. So now you have it. You kind of see what's going on. And then, having, because it's a huge dialogue. I'm trying to make it real, because we have nothing here. Yeah. You don't have a PhD. I don't have a PhD. We're not doctors. Yeah. All we can do is tell the truth, make it funny, have a little good time, relate. and then relate to people. And so this is I come prepared. I have as much preparedness as I can do. This is about 45 minutes of work. It's not that big, but I try to make it so they actually get something out of it at the end of the day. And I even get something out of it re-listening to myself, as I don't listen because I love my shit. I listen because I'm trying to reflect and get better each time. So don't be, you got such ego. It's like, no, I just one time I like to re-listen and get it done. But anyway, thank you so much for coming here, and thank you again, setting a new bar. Yep. And then if you want to come on the show, hey, no problem, my friends. Let's sit down and have a great conversation. Actually, the way I prefer to get out right now and be social is come in here and sit on the podcast. But come ready, come with some questions, and let's have a good conversation. So thank you again.
Yep.
And thank you for listening to this episode of Happy Campers, as we talked all about loneliness and kind of tying loneliness in with relationships. Again, all the links to my social media platforms and Brandon's will be in all the YouTube bios and the podcasting bios below. So you can go check him out, give him a follow, give him a like, check out his music, and do whatever you want. Also, too, if you really, really like it, pass it on with somebody else, share it with somebody. That's how we can start a deeper conversation and find a larger audience. And to also, if you're on YouTube, give this a like, subscribe for following and future content, and give this a review on any of the platforms you listen to it, whether it's Spotify, Overcast, or Apple. Give it a 5-star review. That helps me out more than you could possibly imagine. So thank you guys so much for coming on and listening to this once again. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and a happy Halloween. Yes, and like always, guys, until next time, take care, guys.